Now, I'll name these illusions in the order I tend to expose them. They are money, legalese, and religion. Now, if you are in any way religious, and it doesn't matter which religion, then I'm afraid you will have to come to terms with the fact that you are being thoroughly deceived, and there is nothing I can do about that. It is a simple fact. You will have to work this out for yourself using your common sense, because whichever religion you believe in, its dogma will be jarring with your deep down common sense. And you will know that, but I'm sure you won't admit it, of course. However, before delving into these major illusions, I need to prevail upon your common sense to discuss what could be termed a minor delusion. It's called taking. So, before going any further, let's discuss taking. People say that just taking something that doesn't belong to you, is wrong. It's stealing. Well, could we put that attitude into perspective, please? What's the first thing you did when you were born? Well, most people would say, I screamed my head off, or that's what my mother said. Well, that has to be wrong. It might have been the second thing you did, but before you could scream, you must have taken a breath. And that must have been the first thing. And you continue to take breaths for your entire life. So, just simply taking breaths, is that stealing? Do you expect the atmosphere to send you an invoice one day for all the breathing you've done throughout your life? Okay, well, you can laugh at that idea. Let's move on. What about all the water you drank? Well, where does water come from? Do you expect the atmosphere to send you a bill for all the rain you drank during your life? Are you stealing if you take a swig of water? Or any liquid based on water? I mean, it's all very well to say it's stealing if I bung a bottle of Diet Coke up my sleeve in a supermarket, but where does the Coca-Cola company get most of the contents? Did they pay the atmosphere? So why are they charging you? What right do they have to take water and consider you are stealing it if you don't pay them? What about the light and the heat you need for your entire life? It comes from the sun. All the energy on this entire planet comes from the sun. By its light we are able to see, by its heat we don't freeze. Do you think the sun considers you to be a thief because you never pay for all this energy? Do you expect an invoice from the sun to land on your doormat one fine day? What about all the minerals? Where do they come from? Out of the ground, out of the earth. Does the earth charge anyone for all the minerals it gives up? All the oil, the gold, the iron, copper, etc.? When any living creature, that's everything from birds, animals, fish, plants, even the smallest organisms, come to life, they take. They take from the atmosphere, they take from the sun, they take from the earth, and human beings are absolutely no different, because there is no other way. If we don't take, we die. It's as simple as that. When you die, that's when you stop taking. There is absolutely no dishonour whatsoever in taking. It is not stealing. We have to take. There is no other way. The air, water, heat, light and minerals are there for us to use. That's what we need for basic survival. And those things are there for us, and they are entirely free for the taking. When you arrive in this world, what do you have? A tiny, naked body. How could it be possible if everything else this tiny, naked body needed wasn't provided by Mother Nature freely? If you were expected to somehow pay from the word go, how would you possibly survive for more than a couple of seconds? That is the fundamental situation. Everything else on top of that is man-made. All the other creatures understand this instinctively. Watch them, study them. It's only mankind that has this stupid hang-up about taking something that doesn't belong to them. Well, who says any air I need doesn't belong to me? Who says any water I need doesn't belong to me? And any light and heat I need doesn't belong to me? And any minerals I may need? Who says? Taking and being reasonable about it, sharing what is available, is not wrong. it's very right, because you and I and everyone and everything else have no other choice. And I suggest that's pure common sense. And I further suggest that deep down, you know that's the absolute truth. It just needs carefully thinking about, that's all. So why isn't it possible to just take what we need? Largely because groups of people have historically carved it all up and decided it was theirs, not ours. Are you getting the picture? If any stealing occurred, then they stole it from us in the first place. Now do you see what I'm getting at? They took it all in glutton mode, put big fences around it, and then started to charge us for it. What right did they have? Answer, none whatsoever. Their only claim, and this is entirely spurious, is that they got there first, or they got in first, which is the same as saying they elbowed their way to the front of the queue, tossing everyone else out the way, and this gives them some kind of right. Well, my common sense tells me that they had every right to take what they personally needed, but then they should have left the remainder for everyone else. What does your common sense say to you about that? Does it tell you that would have been an honourable way to go about things? Does your common sense tell you, in fact, they did a lot of stealing from humanity at large, and that we are all expected to live with the consequences of their blatant theft? And living with these consequences has been absolutely ingrained into the psyche of mankind in total. And my common sense tells me that wasn't right, fair, or just. But what does your common sense tell you? My common sense tells me that I don't see any reason to have to live under these circumstances. But what does your common sense tell you? My common sense tells me that if I take back what was originally mine, I'm not actually doing anything wrong. I'm just levelling a playing field that has been tilted very much against me and my family and all my ancestors. But what does your common sense tell you? You need to think about it all very carefully. It's very important that you understand this, because the idea of stealing has been so ingrained into our psyche that we must rid ourselves of that illusion if we're going to get anywhere at all. We have to understand that there is no dishonour in taking what you need, as long as you don't grab more than you actually need, as long as you are not a glutton. And these are fundamental facts that apply to all life forms that are aware of their existence, and is the launching pad for everything but everything else.